This one surprised me.
It was a very pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Actually.
So I've seen this twice. I went on the day after Christmas with family and grandparents, and you were working, and I went into it thinking this is going to be, it's another adaptation of Little Women, and I'm sure I like Greta Gerwig, I like the actors involved. I'm sure it'll be like pleasant, like a nice movie, and it caught me off guard how good this movie was, and I immediately called you and told you about it, and I was like, this movie's awesome. But then I went into it, I was like, maybe it just caught me off guard. We're gonna have to. I need to go see it with Kyle so that we can review it. And no, second time, just as good. Like, it was just as great.
It really is. The way Greta Gerwig constructed this version of Little Women, it's the best adaptation of this book.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah,
and Greta Gerwig. This is something I mentioned. Her first movie, directorial debut, was Lady Bird, right?
Fantastic.
And Lady Bird's great. Saoirse Ronan's great in it. And when you watch it, though, it's clearly a personal story. Because I know Greta Gerwig grew up in Sacramento. The story's based in Sacramento. Like, there's a lot of things you can tell are kind of semi-autobiographical, in a sense. And when they announced they were doing Little Women, I was like, okay, we'll see what she can do. And after seeing Little Women, I immediately am on board for whatever she is up for next.
Yeah.
I mean, she's 2 straight movies she just straight up knocked out of the park. Like, they're awesome. And this movie, like you said, the way it's constructed, she wrote this, the screenplay. She had a brilliant idea of telling it out of order in a non-linear story structure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how there's the parallels in time.
Well, it makes those...
It makes certain moments hit harder.
Yes. Because when you watch it, if you were to watch it in order, yeah, they would hit. But to see it, the way she tells it out of order, you're right. It's how certain scenes are paralleled together that it's just like, it's perfect. So there were numerous moments that are way more emotionally hard-hitting.
Yeah.
That they were super effective.
There were some really great shots in this, too.
Yes. And not in the sense... They weren't... There's like a difference between cool shots and beautiful shots. This is one of those movies that just has loads of just beautiful shots. It's not necessarily the camera work.
The one that sticks out, in my opinion, is the one on the beach.
When...
The sand's blowing.
When Beth is sick and Joe's taking her to the beach. Yeah. That one, the first time I saw it, it struck me. I was like, God, this is just...
There are several shots in this movie where you go, wow, this is like kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then...
I told you, I was like, it felt like almost every frame could have been a painting.
Yeah.
Like, literally. And that's just immediately... I was like, Greta Gerwig really did a fantastic job. Now, obviously, it's not like she was the only one that set that up, but to be able to craft the specific scenes to make it feel like it's that time period, but also make it that kind of gorgeous, and it made you feel like you were looking at a late 18th century painting. Like the paintings that Amy is drawing throughout the movie, it feels like you're watching that, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Well, now that we've gushed about Greta Gerwig for the first several minutes,
I'm sorry, man. I mean, she deserves all the praise.
No.
When going into it, I had heard, like, for award season, she hadn't been getting nominated for Best Director. And I was like, okay.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
And when you watch it, you're like, I agree. Like, how is she not nominated? It's insane. But yes, I'm sorry. You want to move on to
the acting?
One of the MVPs of this movie?
Saoirse Ronan is a monster.
She's awesome. Is she not? And she was perfect as that character.
Yeah. She's really interesting to me because she seems to play a very similar character.
Yeah.
In all her stuff, but she plays that character better than anybody else acting.
Right. I don't mean this in a negative way. It's a little similar to like a Denzel. Denzel, there are times he seems to be playing like a similar character, but it's like it doesn't take away from the fact that he's fantastic. playing a character like that.
That being said, I would love to see Saoirse
Oh, I would too, and I think she potentially could.
Yeah.
You know.
That being said, she's great. All the sisters are really
good. Every bit of acting in this movie is good. There is not someone that I would say put in a weak performance going into it. I saw Emma Watson. I was like, oh, that's going to be the weak performance. She does great.
Yeah.
I mean, I have always...
Chris Cooper is the grandfather next door?
Second time around, it realized he is awesome. Mm-hmm. He is so good in this movie. Even a small part who my grandfather thought was Kevin Costner, it turned out to be Bob Odenkirk. I was like, on the ride home, he was like, Kevin Costner was great. And I was like, who did you think was Kevin Costner? Because I really needed to figure out. And he was like, I know who Kevin Costner looked like. I was like, Pop, that's Bob Odenkirk. That's a totally different actor. But even Bob Odenkirk was good. And then, but you're right. The sisters were awesome. And in particular, for me, Saoirse Ronan obviously is the best performance. Yeah. She is so funny and charming, but also those emotional moments where she does realize how lonely her life has kind of become. Mm-hmm. Because it's told out of order, that it's near the end of the movie, and it's just so hard hitting that you're like, God.
And then Amy was really good too.
Florence Pugh. This has kind of been her year as far as she has had two amazing performances.
She did a great job of playing young.
Yeah, part of that was the pigtails.
Yeah, but no, I mean, just the way she acted young.
She was childish.
Yeah.
She was great, yeah.
And then you actually see her grow up a little bit in maturity-wise, more so than the other sisters. The other sisters are kind of who they are. Mm-hmm. She goes from being...
But it's because I think they've already grown. Yeah.
And you see her transformation. I thought she was really good in that. And then the other sister,
Beth. She was... And it's because of what eventually happened. She gave a really good performance, and her story with Chris Cooper was insanely sweet. Like how that all played out. I'm telling you, the second time around, there were things I focused on a little bit more, especially because I have to be honest. I did not know. I had never read Little Women. I had never seen any other adaptation. And it's one of those things that I just know after seeing this one. It's like, this has to be the definitive adaptation. There's no way. Like, no offense, maybe I'll watch the Winona Ryder version and think, oh, this is actually better.
Don't watch the Winona Ryder.
But she got nominated for an Oscar though for playing Jo.
Again, I watched it in school, and while it's okay, this is the best version of this story.
No, but my point is, the Florence Pugh, you to go back to what you were talking about, how she did a really good job of displaying like growing up. Mm-hmm. I think I really appreciated how, because it was told out of order, within the first 10-15 minutes, you get a glimpse of grown-up Amy.
Yeah.
So throughout the movie, you do see that kind of progression from she's a child to I'm now an adult, and she realizes that's a major theme in the movie is what women's kind of place and what their role was in society at that moment in time in history.
Yeah.
Which obviously Jo is big on, like, no, I want to be independent. I want to be liberated. I want to make a name for myself. I'm not just someone that will birth children into the world, you know? But to see Amy's growth was, I thought the fact that it was told out of order was done beautifully. It was done so well.
Laura Dern is also...
Laura Dern, this is like borderline the year of Laura Dern. Mm-hmm. Between her role in Marriage Story and her role in this.
Yeah.
I actually would have liked to see Laura Dern, like in a way older version of Little Women, to play Jo. Because the second time around, because there's that whole scene where she's talking to Jo, and it's Marmee. She's talking to Jo, and she's like, you know, you remind me a lot of me. Mm-hmm. And the second time around,
chasing dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah. Run! No, I did. Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Run!
5 minutes in, I did turn to you. I was like, just by the way, there is a dinosaur subplot in this movie. Just watch out. And you're like, oh, okay. But Laura Dern, the second time around, I did realize, like, oh man, she could have played, like, in an older version, she could have easily played Jo.
I really liked it.
Like, that scene where she was like, man, what she's like, you remind me of me. And Joe's like, but you're never angry. And she goes, I've been angry for the past 40 years. There are so many, and that's, the screenplay in this is great.
Yeah.
There are so many lines that are really sweet and charming, but also just funny, you know?
That being, there's one more standout performance in this, and it was Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, it goes back to our point. Every performance is great.
Yeah,
the standouts for me.
When I'm talking, it's Jo,
Amy, and Laurie.
Yeah,
for me, are the three.
To me, Jo and Laurie are the ones that. Any time Timothée Chalamet is on screen, he's like. You want him on, like, you just want him on screen. He kind of demands you watch him.
Yeah, no, there's no question. There is no question.
Even when he's, like, in the background, you're like, what is he doing?
He's like, what's Laurie up to?
Yeah.
And you mentioned it to me last night, and I think that's a pretty fair comparison, where you said he reminds me a lot of that young Leonardo DiCaprio, as far as, like, the vibe that he kind of gives.
From Titanic.
From Titanic.
When and again, completely different movies, completely different characters.
I'd honestly say Chalamet may be a better actor, especially at this moment in time.
Yeah, but it's kind of how I feel that way when I watch Titanic. You know, he's not necessarily the main character. Kate Winslet's the main character, and he's kind of your favorite moments of the movie are when he's on screen.
Yeah. In particular, when it's him and Jo on screen, they are unstoppable.
Well, even when he's in France, man, when he's with Amy in France, like everything when he's drunk and he comes in.
That's a standout scene for me. Not the first time you see him where he's drunk, like really drunk. I love the scene where he came in to basically. He was kind of trying to apologize to Amy, and Amy was painting, and she has that whole kind of speech about how I can't be a painter. I'm just going to have Fred Vaughn's kids, and that's, they're not my property, but, it's the only way that I can provide for my family is to marry into wealth. But when he walks into the scene, she's like, are you drunk already? He's like, what? He's like, oh, come on, Amy, it's 4 o'clock. I've had a little. And he's like, come on, what do you expect? It's 4 o'clock. And it's, that made me, and there's that's screenplay-wise, there are small lines that really kind of make you laugh.
Who is this?
That scene was hilarious. Where
who is this guy?
And it's crazy.
Can somebody please tell me who this is?
Yeah, and I will say, because I didn't know the story, the whole time I'm like, first of all, they set it up perfectly, especially for someone that's knows nothing about the story, because in the first 10-15 minutes, they said, I cannot believe Jo turned you down. So you immediately know, Jo does not marry Laurie.
Yeah.
So throughout the movie, you see their relationship grow and blossom, and you're like, how does she turn him down? Why would she turn him down? So the end result of her getting with Frederick is like, it hits, for me, it hit much more emotionally because she did really like Frederick, and she loved him, and it was something that I feel like if I had read in order, I kind of would have been mad. It was like, you just kind of went with Frederick. But the way this played out, it just played out better. But that scene where Laurie's already married to Amy, and Frederick comes in and they're introducing him, and Laurie's like, who is this man? And they just keep talking. He's like, no one seems to be answering my question as to who is this guy. And it's because Laurie was like, and I think a little bit deep down is like, who is this guy that's kind of vying for Joe's attention? Yeah. But, Chalamet and Florence Pugh and Saoirse Ronan are just studs. But I still won't say they're the MVPs, because it's got to be Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just like the perfect choice for this movie. I loved this movie. It's definitely in my top 5. Like, this thing, I've said it every review how it's nuts how I feel like this is a fantastic year of movies. But after seeing this, it's like, it's really is solidifying how this is one of the best years of movies I've had in a while. As far as, like, I review every movie. I'm like, this is in my top 5. Right as of right now, this for sure is in my top 5. I saw it the first time I walked out of the theater. I was like, I want to watch that again. Mm-hmm. Saw it with you immediately. Was like, I want to watch that again. I wish I could own it right now and I could watch this. I wouldn't say over and over, but it is.
What do you give this?
Oh, an A.
Yeah.
Easily an A.
Yeah.
I mean, also something I love about the story. There's no. I know, and this sounds kind of a little childish, but there's no bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no individual that's bad. Everyone's a good person, which makes it a really charming, fun movie to watch, and one that you can watch over and over and over. I love this movie. But yeah.
It's good.
Is there anything else that you could think of that you wanted to bring up?
No, we covered it. Greta Gerwig is awesome.
She's a monster. She is so good.
Anybody that's debating on whether to go see this movie because it's Little Women.
Oh yeah.
Just go see it.
I felt like
you're gonna have a good time.
I know you're not the biggest fan of Friends, and I'm not the biggest fan of Friends either. I was more of a Seinfeld guy. That's just me. But there is an episode of Friends where Joey's reading Little Women and Rachel reads The Shining. While watching Little Women, I felt like Joey did in the episode, where he's like really invested, and then at the end he's like, Beth's getting real sick, and he starts crying. And that's how you feel in the movie. It's like, because it's how it's played out is perfect. So it's perfect. So, do not be discouraged by the fact that this is some old story that only women have seen. It's like, no, this movie's amazing. It's well made. It's super funny, super charming. It's everything.
Well acted.
It's everything that you really want in a movie.
Yeah.
So, that was our take on Little Women. Go see it and check us next time.